And hello everybody, this is me, Dr. PC, the commander and leader of the Epsilon Army, speaking to you once again. Today you have entered the basic submarine tutorial, and we are going to be doing making your very first submarine. It's going to use a fairly simple air pump technology, which is going to be controlled by control blocks. It will have torpedoes as a weapon, and it will be steered by the naval AI. So let's go to the vehicle designer and get something done. Alright, here we are. Let's go ahead and just jump off the platform, because that's what we do. And go ahead and start to work on our new ship. We will be building it out of metal to avoid complications for your very first submarine. While this is not by any means the most cost-effective way of doing it, it is by far the simplest, which is the reason why we are going to use this technique in this tutorial. If you are interested in the other ones, make sure after watching this you will move on to the advanced and eventually the expert tutorial. However, let's be more concerned with the actions we are taking right now. We're going to be setting us up with a nice little hull, or more of a platform right now. It will turn into a hull later down the line. And let's just go ahead and turn the symmetry on pressing the N key. Alright, I think we are plenty big here. Let's go ahead and start working on the sides of the ship. As you can see, this is basically a flattened circle, which is a pretty cool way of doing it. I like it. So now let's go ahead and just continue the pattern all the way across. And there we are. There might be a slight cut here. I'm not sure. It's such a short time. I'm not sure if I want to break the continuation. But either way, here we are. We have this beautiful ship right here. But, and it should have plenty of airspace to make sure it floats when it's full of air and it sinks when it is not. We'll have to try that, but I am pretty trusting in that. So let's go ahead and just add these things here. And an air pump. It's underwater. An air pump. Let's just go ahead and put it across the center of mass and give us a buoyancy fraction of 0 for once and see if this thing will start sinking. Let's see. Looking pretty strong right now. However, it might end up floating. No, it is getting below water. Looking good. As you can see, it's a little front heavy, but that's absolutely fine for us because that's going to be changing many times in this video. Okay, yes, absolutely, it is definitely going to be sinking, but this is the critical part. Will it go up? Yes, it will. Beautiful. This means this hull is perfectly viable for the use in this tutorial. So the pump can actually stay there, and we will be cutting out the holes for the weapon system, which is one of the more important sections of the vehicle. Make sure it is at the front. The weapons are facing at the front of the vessel. We will be shooting out 3 torpedoes, so we're not wasting too much space, but we are going to have a fair bit of weapon system going on. We're going to make them, let's say, 5 blocks long. This is going to include, and of course there is the additional missile launcher, but we are going to have 5 blocks long missiles. So let's go ahead and get ourselves the missile blocks. No, you actually can't place them there. So let's go ahead and get us the 6-way missile connectors and connect them all the way across the bottom. Add the launch pads. And I guess I should switch up the color for the aspirant. This thing it really is. Do not worry about the names right now. They might be explained in another video. So let's go ahead and get back to the missiles and get us some missile blocks. Alright, fantastic. Okay, one was missing. Now let's go ahead and add a little bit of a rim across the launch pad to protect it from incoming attacks. As you can see now, the angles of shooting there are much lower. And we can start focusing on other things, such as the missile controller. I believe we can just set up here, out here. Yes, no, okay, that's fine. Nothing is bad. Nothing to worry about. Now we can have all three connected. Exactly, fantastic. Now we are going to add ourselves a stack of fire item, because it's, you know, it's one of those things that don't really have that much of a meaning, but they're kind of cool. And this one is actually important. Identify friend or foe. We'll be setting it to 0.3 seconds. And that's our missile system pretty much done. I mean, we're going to actually be removing this fire, so we can have space for the AI. We're going to have a local weapon control right here. There we go. It's controlling one weapon. Then let's go ahead and add the AI mainframe, and let's get ourselves some card slots. Namely, I don't know. Let me see. Well, I do know. I can't remember. Right. We're going to have these two. I don't believe we need any other. So tracker prioritization and naval movement algorithm for the very most basic system. No, I believe that's pretty much the AI done, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, let's go ahead and start. Actually, I am going to look into what I do with this space, because it might be just used for air, because it's a very big part of the submarine that uses this technique is air that makes it float. Now we're going to add the engine. We're going to put the engine block down and get us, let's say, 3 crankshafts and cylinders going in this sort of fashion across the crankshaft. But let's leave this block empty because we're going to have some carburetors there. This is a very cost-effective way of doing an engine. I know there are more efficient models out there, but this is fine for me. And we can, by the way, just mirror this for our convenience. Now we're going to have ourselves a couple of superchargers and a bunch of engines own fuel tanks. Let's go ahead and add some superchargers over there, and the rest we can just fill in with the engine's own fuel tanks. And we will have plenty of power, absolutely plenty, which we'll be using when it comes to the propulsion. You don't have to, well, you preferably should be putting the propellers somewhere around the center of mass, but it's not too important. We're going to have jet stabilizers to fix all the errors you will be making when it comes to this process, because it's not very easy to balance your thrusters. And can I see this thing happening? Let me see. Yeah, that looks pretty strong right now. We could move these guys, you know, a little bit further apart and add a central thruster. There we go. We have tons and tons of propulsion, probably too much, let's be honest. Maybe I'll just have one to make this thing a little bit cheaper, and we will have some shields instead. There we go. That should do it. Now we're going to have some turning capabilities with some boat propellers. Thank you very much. And there we go. Let's have these two at the sides, or these 4, I suppose. These are going to provide us with the yaw control. Now what we're going to do is add some, to keep this thing from pitching over or rolling over, we will add from the air section jet stabilizers. These things work underwater for some odd reason, and we will be making use of that feature right now because it is one of the most useful things in the game. So let's go ahead and add these things. You have a good view on both sides because you don't want this thing to be pitching too much in any direction at all. And since we are not using pitch to control our altitude, it doesn't matter if we are actually completely locked. There we go, that should probably keep us safe. Now what I want you to do is go ahead and get inside the building, yes indeed, and go ahead and put down down our air pump. You remember this guy? I hope you do, and it's fine here. And then we will add 2 automated control blocks from control section. One of them is controlling basically. Oh, I'll show you. One of them will activate if our altitude is greater than. We're going to have -110, which is going to be our max altitude. We're going to air pumps deactivate. There we go. That's it. Very simple, very easy. Then the other side is going to activate when we are less than. Let me see where. Okay, there we go. When altitude is less than. less than, let's say, 130. That's going to give us a 20-meter range of movement, and we will activate the air pump at 100%. There you go. That's all you need to do. Now, in theory, this guy should pretty much be functional. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot some pretty important things, such as the resources. Let's go ahead and get us a good bit of ammunition. You shouldn't make yourself too vulnerable, but it really doesn't matter. This is submarine. It's not. If it gets hit, you are probably F at this point anyway. So let's go ahead and have these nice barrels of ammunition. Then fuel is of course important, so you aren't wasting. Well, so you have some efficiency in your engines on it. There we go. Get us a supply pump or two, I suppose. Let's just make everything symmetrical. And a fuel processor and some ammunition processors. There we go. That's going to be probably a bit overkill for these 3 torpedoes, but should most certainly do the job. Now, I don't think we need anything else at this point. I do not believe so. Let's go ahead and save the vehicle. There we go. Let's go ahead and see how this thing plays out. Let's see, will it sink? That's a critical part. And right now it's kind of sinking, but not at a very fast rate. Oh yeah, there's a critical part I just noticed. This is why you'd never turn it off too early before I tell you that the tutorial is pretty much finished and the rest will be showcasing how it works. So let's go ahead and try to find ourselves the good old naval AI and disable the reverse. Because the reverse really doesn't work with submarines. I'm not sure why, but it does not. So let's go ahead and see how this thing works now. It is no longer trying to reverse itself. Right now it does not appear we are sinking very quickly at all, so let's go ahead and add ourselves a lead keel. It is fairly expensive use, so you don't really want to be wasting it. However, it is very useful in this kind of thing, and should not only provide us with a pretty good, you know, promise of keeping this thing in the right roll direction. It is also going to help us sink. I'm just a little bit worried it is also going to mean we are coming back up, which is what we have to test for. However, right now we are not sinking really at all, which is really terrifying. Are we really this floaty? Or have I mixed something up? I'm getting worried. Altitude is a little greater than. Yes, the air pump should be deactivated. Yes, it is. Okay. There should be no reason we are floating other than the fact that we have propulsion. Alright, looks like we might be sinking now. No, it doesn't appear so. Let's go ahead and add another layer of lead. This is actually kind of good that I'm showing this process, because you're probably going to be facing very similar problems as you are designing your own submarine. Because at the end of the day, you know, you never know with submarines what they're gonna do. But right now it looks like it is finally submerging. Not very quickly, but it is submerging, and that's the point. For demo, let's go ahead and see if the system works by setting the altitude less. Let's set the target altitude to be, let's say, 80 meters, and let's say 36 meters. That's our new, you know, artificial target altitude. Just to see if this thing can actually get its job done. And also, the deeper you go, the safer you are from shells. However, the more likely you are to hit a cliff or something along those lines, which you of course don't want to happen. So it's a, you know, risk versus reward thing there. In future tutorials, most likely the advanced tutorial will be featuring a system where you don't need to do that risk reward choice as much as here, because it's a much smarter system. And as you can see, it is now going up as it reaches its target altitude. Fantastic. That pretty much means this thing is working now. And you can now, if you are really busy, you can turn the record. You can go away and, you know, have your submarine done in 50 minutes. However, if you are interested in seeing how this thing will actually perform in combat, then hang on, we'll be testing just that. So let's go ahead and get this thing at 110 meters. And this thing is actually the less than, yes. So it's going to be 130 meters. 130, not 40. Please. There we go. God damn. It's finicky. There we go. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and save the vehicle. In case something happens to it, you know. And let's go ahead and let it sink, at least a little bit. It doesn't have to be all the way at its target altitude to function. However, I would like it to be at least a few meters below the water. Otherwise, it's not really much of a submarine, is it? Alrighty, let's go ahead and spawn the Sea Viper. Let's start off with something, you know, easy. Oh wow, that's very close. And I did not set the missiles. Oh my goodness me, now I feel very bad for all these people. I mean, we got the job done. That's definitely true. However, we do need to change these things with the torpedoes. That's a very easy fix. Let's go ahead and get the torpedo propeller. Some more fins. Target prediction guidance is pretty okay if you're trying to hit something very fast, but we are not. So let's rather just have a ballast tank. This is going to make it so we can actually hit underwater targets. And a torpedo sonar at the end, and some fragmentation warheads. This guy's going to have a cone angle of just about 7, punching through some armor. And this guy's going to have about 39. That should do the job. Oh, and we have to spray to our components, of course. Now we can actually see how this thing works. Okay, now let's see how this thing actually functions. I will be spawning them somewhere else, west. And a Sea Viper. And it should spawn it all the way over there. Fantastic. Because these guys function better at range. And here we can see these things are homing in. Because of the torpedo's very high field of view, and of course they are very agile. Because they tend to be slower. So they can make some pretty extreme turns. As long as they do not have to have one turn component, which I hope I took out. However, as you can see, they are most certainly doing their job. And then let's go some hits. There you go. Will this thing try to turn around? That's a critical point. No, it does not seem to be so. Okay, let's go ahead and destroy the vehicles and load back our submarine. Indeed, it did have the one turn. Let's go ahead and have an extra fragmentation warhead with an even higher cone angle. Or actually, rather, let's go ahead and have the proximity fuse. That's much more useful. There we go. Now it's a superior warship, and we can get it back underwater. This time I'm going to give it a little cheat start, or a kick start, I guess you could also call it. So we can already have it deep underwater. And see how this thing does against some at least a little bit more serious enemies. Let's start with the Vanguard. Nothing too crazy yet, but it's, you know, it is a worthy battleship. And you can see it turning all the way down there. And it's shooting out torpedoes, fantastic. Now will they home in? That's a key question. I am not sure if these guys were aimed well enough. Oh, and there are other problems for me to fix in the naval area, of course. Let's see, yeah. There's a lot of tweaking to be done when it comes to submarines, because they work very differently from traditional battleships, which is why the AI at its default sliders will do something very crazy. What we want to do is actually enter broadside very early, but also leave it very easily. And we want to be at 0 degrees. Nothing minimum range is this. Okay, yeah, we don't want to be closer than 50 meters, let's just say. And that's it. Okay, that should do that trick. And let's now see how this thing does as we once again go ahead and put it all the way down here. I hope I changed it and saved. That's a quick change. That's a quick check. Oh, I did. Fantastic. However, we are now taking hits by what? Exactly? I'm not quite sure. What is this? That's kind of worrying. Well, either way, let's go ahead and spawn us another Vanguard. and see how we do against it with our superior AI now. That's actually going to aim in the right direction for once. Alright, that's looking like a pretty good angle to be shooting at. And we are just spitting out these torpedoes at the enemy. And as you can see, while it might look like these guys missed, they're going to come around and have a second round and hit them from the back, which is rather beautiful. Here we have it. The Vanguard is getting quite destroyed. So at this point, I'm pretty sure the tweaking is done. We could have a match out against the Plunderer. That's always fun. If we can blow up the ammo storage, then this ship has more than done its job. Let's go ahead and see how this thing does. Let's Plunderer. Let's see how much do you cost? Only this much. That's not a very expensive ship, is it? No, it is not. And however, if it can take out the Plunderer, many of you will think it's pretty much worth it at that point, right? That's 25,000 metal for our Plunderer, in case it works, of course, which is not yet quite that given. We could also, you could strap some shields on it, because right now it has a completely overkill engine. It could really do with some engines, shields. Shields are very effective, because the ammo penetration rating will continue to go down as it goes underwater. Right now the torpedoes are really hitting the enemy. Oh no, that is, well, this is a good, let's demonstrate how much fire these things can indeed take. Even because this thing would be quite devastating if it was above water. And I mean, I'm not saying it's not very devastating as right now, however, there we go, the Plunderer has been defeated. Pretty much. I mean, it might still have enough ammo to destroy this thing, however, it's not doing a very good job at it, as you can see. And at this point it's just a matter of time before we'll kill it. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This thing can kill a Plunderer, which makes it a very effective submarine. However, this is it for the tutorial. I hope you have enjoyed it, and if you are interested in becoming even more proficient with submarines, make sure you move on to the advanced submarine tutorial. I've been Dr. PC, and thanks for watching.